kung fu.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I have an action classic for you. 2008's Wanted, starring James McAvoy, Angelina Jolie, and Morgan Freeman. And also a little small role from a pre-Guardians of the Galaxy Chris Pratt. Wanted was an interesting movie. I thought it was cool as shit when it first came out, and personally, I think Wanted might be one of the more underrated action movies of all time. It doesn't get talked about enough for what it did with its action sequences, and particularly its interpretation of just, you know, fucking, I don't even know, bullet time, like just almost slow, like because the Matrix kind of pioneered the slow motion. But Wanted, really pushed the whole slow motion bullets and seeing the trajectory of the bullets and seeing where the bullets are going and the whole bullets hitting around corners and shit. Wanted was kind of was kind of unique with its action sequences. But, you know, it's like I say, it's not really talked about a lot. Also, Wanted is based off of the 2003 comic book of the same name, written by the legendary comic book writer Mark Millar. And Mark Millar, Millar has written a lot of shit, man. Mark Millar is an iconic comic book writer. He's written things like Kick-Ass. He's written various other comics for DC and Marvel. Jupiter's Legacy, that show was on Netflix not that long ago. Actually, in fact, if I recall, Mark Millar sold basically his whole catalog to Netflix. But yeah, Mark Millar is a legendary comic book writer, well known for like I say, a lot of great books. Basically damn near any comic book adaptation, the action-ish comic book adaptation that you see, there's a good chance it might have been written by him. But I digress. Wanted was a blast, and it very much is very, at least it has shades of Fight Club, shades of The Matrix. There's a lot of shades of other movies in this movie, but it's Angelina Jolie at her sexiest and actioniest best. Like, you know, she really pulled that off. It was Morgan Freeman, and you know, this movie came out, you know, forever ago, so I don't really feel like I'm spoiling anything to tell you that Morgan Freeman kind of is a little bit more missing in this movie. And at the time, 2008, a menacing Morgan Freeman was very, very weird. James McAvoy was, I wouldn't say he was like super young. He was in the game, but like, you know, nobody really knew who James McAvoy. He wasn't really on the map back then. Like I said, Chris Pratt is in this also, and this is, like I say, this is 2008, man. So this is pre anything Chris Pratt. This is just, you know, he was still chubby Chris Pratt. And the main story centers around a guy named Wesley Gibson. Now, Wesley is just working this 9-to-5 job in a cubicle. You know, that's why I say it's very, like, Wesley's story is very much like Homeboy's from Fight Club story, in a sense of them living in this just monotonous situation where like their brains are just like going dull. And Wesley has a medical condition where whenever he gets anxiety, he has his anxiety spikes. He feels his heart racing, and he needs to take some pills to like slow down his own heart. And you know, Wesley doesn't know what's going on. Like, he doesn't know why that happens to him, but it does, which it sort of hints why he hasn't tried to do anything more than what he is. Like you kind of relate to Wesley because he's just stuck in the monotony of his life. His girlfriend is cheating on him with his best friend. He's fully aware of it, but he doesn't do anything about it because he's just so, I wouldn't say, he's kind of just so dead inside. Until one day, Wesley is just going to this convenience store, and you know, he runs into this Angelina Jolie's fox, and his life is changed from there on. He finds out that not only that, because you know, it kind of established at the beginning of the movie that his father had disappeared. Like his father had walked out on him and his mom, and that might have had something to do about why he acts the way that his mentality also. But he never knew what happened to his dad. And as it turns out, his dad was a part of this Weavers Assassins Guild called the Fraternity. And apparently 1,000 years ago, there was these weavers who were just weaving shit. Like, they kind of just sound like they were just weaving shit. Somebody noticed that inside the weaves was like some type of code that was giving them a time and a date and a person's name. And as it turns out, though, that time, like, fate, like, they're very vague about it. I'm sure in the comic, which I haven't read, they actually answer these questions, because in the movie they really never really answer the question, like, did this thing, like, who is giving you guys who is putting these names, this code on the threads when it's created? They never really answer that question. But I'm sure, like, some type of deity is, like, telling them to punish these awful people before they do something awful. Because every time a name is put on there, it's someone who's about to cause an atrocity. And it's the day they're about to cause the atrocity. So they are essentially, like, stopping awful things from happening before they ever happen. So they're assassins. So they are assassins, but they're like assassins fighting for, like, a cause, I suppose. And as it turns out, shoot, I want to call him Stanley for somebody. Wesley's father was one of those assassins. He was one of those assassins and may have a special ability. As it turns out, Wesley's heart condition isn't a condition at all. It's a special ability. As members of the fraternity have the ability to speed up and slow down their heart rate to such a degree that they can have spikes of adrenaline, which means they have momentarily have enhanced reflexes, have enhanced sight. They can see things in slow motion. It allows them to just be essentially superhuman. Now, they can only be superhuman in, like, spurts, but they can be basically essentially superhuman. The beginning fucking action sequence is a dude jumping from one building across to another building while shooting his guns off in the air. It was wild, but, like, that's the kind of shit you can do when you master this heart ability. You can slow down your own bleeding. You can speed up your healing process. There's a lot of shit you can do with this heart ability that all the members of them have. Now, the fraternity recruits Stanley because the man who killed his father and the man who was trying to take down a fraternity, they think they can train him to get to this guy and kill him. And there's this fun training montage of him learning how to take a beating, him learning how to use knives, him learning how to shoot guns and accuracy, him learning how to bend the bullets around corners, and, like, him learning to be more fearless and to be adaptable. Like, there's this fun little act. They never really tell you how long that training sequence was, but you imagine it was a pretty decent training sequence, a decent amount of time in that training sequence. But as it turns out, which I actually thought was a pretty decent twist when I was a kid. I don't know, like, because I know about it now, if I knew what the twist was, would it have been that big of a deal? But as it turns out, that a few members of the fraternity have gone rogue, including Morgan Freeman's character, and the guy who they've been sending him to kill, his father isn't dead at all. In fact, the guy they've been training him to kill was his father the whole time. And they knew by getting him, they knew that his father, the only person that, quote unquote, his father would ever hesitate to kill was him. And they trained him to kill him. That was the big twist of the movie. It turns out they were the bad guys. But also, twist, not all of them knew what the fuck was happening. The twist was that somewhere along the way, whether the fate god or whoever was giving them their coordinates or whatever, whether some people were doing some shit they shouldn't have been doing, or the fate gods just said we need to end this shit, all the names of the current fraternity operatives popped up on the list. AKA the fate god said all you guys need to die. Morgan Freeman's character and a few others decided, fuck that shit, we're not gonna do this, we're gonna just do what we want to do, we're gonna kill who we want to kill, fuck the fates. They basically forsake everything they cared about. But fortunately for old the Wesley, Angelina Jolie's character was a true believer, because she went out with fashion, killing off everybody, including herself. Also, one of the best what's the word I'm looking for? In every action movie, or a lot of action movies, there comes a sequence or time where the main protagonist has to overcome a large number of people. And usually the main protagonist has to come up with some type of unique way of doing it. They do. They just got to come up with a unique way of doing it. They got to come up with a unique way of approaching the situation. And one of the best ones I've ever seen in an action movie is when Stanley, well, he gets the idea from this Russian guy early in the movie, but he gets all of these rats and he steals a big ass garbage truck. He fills the whole garbage truck up with peanut butter. He lures in like hundreds of rats and he straps explosives to like a bunch of them, and then he lets them loose into the facility and then he sets off the explosives. And because the rats are running everywhere, you don't know which rat got explosives on him and which rat doesn't. In fact, you probably don't even notice a rat got an explosive on him until it's too late. I thought that was one of the best one man coming up with a way to overcome, numbers things I had ever seen. I thought that was so cool. That was so creative. To this day, it's still one of my all-time favorite one man figuring out a way to change the numbers to his advantage. That was awesome. But yeah, Wanted was a fun ass movie. I love the action sequences. I liked a lot of the characters in it. I like Wesley and Fox and their relationship. I really related to Wesley a little bit with the whole monotony of it all. Because sometimes you can get stuck in a routine and get stuck down, and it just feels like you're being way down. You're just like, I just want something to happen. It's also one of those classics stories that I love, which is be careful what you wish for, / guy being put in this unique situation that there's no way you could have been prepared to deal with it, and you come out a better person at the end of it. So, dug everything about it. Loved Wanted. I thought Wanted was such a fun movie. I'd give Wanted an 8 out of 10, man. I'd give Wanted an 8 out of 10 as an action, a 9 out of 10 as an action movie, and an 8 out of 10 as an actual movie. Wanted was dope. Anyways, thank you guys for joining the Comic Movie Show. Please like and subscribe and comment below. Have you seen 2008's Wanted? If you haven't, give it a check out. It's a fun time. It's on Max. I'd give it a look. Thank you guys again. See you on the next one.